Hey guys, good morning. It's been such a crazy morning. I don't even have a cup of coffee. It's that sort of a Friday. And one of the things I'm looking at right now, because we have a card that we created about the job market, and we were doing that because the jobs report gets released first Friday of every month. And that gives us a new unemployment rate and gives us an idea of how many jobs were added in the country. And I'm looking at the news release. Here's how it looks. Let me just. So it looks like this, which, isn't that glamorous, but it's really important to look down into this report. I'm going to do that while I'm talking. Don't mind Liberty. We're just singing this morning. So what this labor report is showing me is that the unemployment rate is at 3.8%, declined, low, right? But it's showing me also that only 20,000 jobs were added, which would be way off expectations. And I'm trying to figure out what the reason is. You're going to see a lot of headlines about this. The jobs report always gets a lot of headlines because you get that unemployment number, and it's like that's an easy thing to put on a headline. So it's good in some sense that it's sort of like a broad overview for the economy, but there's plenty of other things to look at that'll tell us more about the job market that's maybe more significant. Like, are our wages going up? Where are people working? Are they working in full-time jobs? And these are things that aren't always easy to glean right away. So let's see here, total non-farm payrolls, those are jobs. Job growth averaged 223,000. So last year, 220,000 jobs were created every month on average. That was last year. So over 200,000, that's an important benchmark because that means we're keeping up with population growth in America. That's one of the kind of like those anecdotes to know. So last year we did that. So just think about that in comparison. In last month, we only created 20,000 jobs, but we created 300,000 in January. So what's going on? This is what I'm asking. And I don't have the answer right now, so I'm going to have to look into that. One of the things I was checking out for the site, and you're going to see that, is that the role of working parents has dropped. According to the Washington Post, they did this really interesting analysis that showed that there are fewer working parents in America right now. Why is that? Is it because we're all choosing to stay home with our kids? No, it's actually not. Turns out part of the data is because of low birth rates. And so there's simply fewer parents, so there are fewer working parents. And one of the things that the Post is pointing out that I thought was really interesting is that there are many that are trying to use childcare as a platform for their presidential campaigns, like Senator Elizabeth Warren, saying that, childcare, universal childcare, so that means you as a taxpayer can have access to childcare somehow, either subsidized by the government or otherwise, is part of her platform. Because some believe that's how you get people back into the workforce. And what's interesting is I was reading this article, a different article came out from the Associated Press talking about the job market overall. And one of the people that they interviewed was a woman who decided not to work after her second child because of the high cost of childcare. Now, when you decide that you don't want to work and you want to stay home, you're not considered part of the labor force. So you're not even figured in to some of the data, because you have to be wanting to work, able to work, and actively looking for a job to be part of the job market. So she was out of the job market for like several years until she came back in, learned a new skill, and decided that she would actually be able to afford the childcare. So it was an important thing for her. So I think it's, let me just say this. Although this number is surprising to me as far as job creation, it's 1 month. We had the government shutdown. We had other things going on in the economy. Weather can be a factor. So it's 1 month. Let's see what sort of a trend this develops. That would not be good if we weren't creating many jobs in America over the next several months. But also, we're very close to everyone that wanting to have a job has a job of some sort. So that would be my one thing, is sort of beware, catastrophic headlines. Because overall, if you are between the ages of 25 and 55, 8 out of 10 of us have a job of some sort. So just keep that in mind. Okay, a little perspective. Sorry. Hold on. That was just not what I was expecting to see. I thought I was just going to see an unemployment rate and just be like, hey guys, here's the new unemployment. So there you go. It's from years of covering business news too. A couple things I just want to kind of flag for you today quickly before we go into the weekend as well. And I'm watching this. I haven't seen the results yet. You know, that SpaceX Dragon capsule's on its way back to planet Earth. So watch for any headlines about that landing in the Atlantic Ocean. It's supposed to do sometime this morning. And then just some like important headlines I think we should know about in general, and it has to do with overseas news. You have a major blackout in Venezuela. Venezuelan government is blaming extremists as well as the United States for being behind this power grid problem. But they've had problems with their power grid for a long time. And apparently officials from Venezuela have been sued or charged in U.S. courts for basically taking the money that's allocated for the power grid. So watch that though, because nothing makes the public more angry than not having electricity. And we know that the turmoil in that country is really, really serious right now. So that's a story to watch throughout the weekend. And then also there are these reports that North Korea is starting to engage again in their building their missiles, or they're seeing some activity. You know, someone is seeing activity, like, you know, there's reports of activity. President Trump said he's pretty disappointed about that. But let's see what we get as far as like real news on it. And let me just see one more thing. I thought this was a really interesting story, so I'll leave you with an interesting story today. Just as a side note, because you're going to see this headline everywhere, the former campaign manager of President Trump finally got sentenced in a Virginia court. Just know that he's going to be sentenced in an additional court, so he's going to be spending a lot of time behind bars. So we can dive into the matter of months and the charges against him. Bottom line is Paul Manafort's going to prison, and that was for basically fraud. I mean, these charges are for fraud. So, and now we also know that he apparently lied to special investigators. You know, he was thought to be a cooperating, wasn't. I mean, can we just say shady character, got caught, is going to prison? I don't know. That's what I think you should know about that. I mean, I don't mean to make light of it, but like, honestly, with some of these guys and all these different charges, it's hard to keep straight. And that's the bottom line. The former campaign manager for President Trump for a very short period of time is going to prison. Final thing. Have you guys been to Alcatraz? Any of you? I grew up in San Francisco, so you could see out Alcatraz, famous prison, no longer a prison. Very fun to tour, by the way, if you get a chance. Don't do the part where you get locked in solitary confinement. It's not that. I didn't find that fun as a kid. So just as a side note. But these researchers decided that you want some Kleenex. Researchers use these. What do they call it? Ground penetrating radar. Here you go. Thank you. Kleenex for mommy. Thank you. Ground penetrating radar, and discovered that underneath Alcatraz is actually an old military fort from around Civil War time. They thought that was the case for a long time. Now they can actually apparently see it. There's not just the photos from it, and it looks like there's these tunnels and these just sort of like there's something underneath Alcatraz. And thought that was really interesting. You never know what you're looking at all this time. You think you're looking at just Alcatraz, which is a prison, but that little island in the middle of the San Francisco Bay was thought to be very strategic for a long period of time. Finally, have to give a shout out to my friend Louisa from, well, let me see. She's changed her name a few times. Poor Louisa. She's amazing. Create Something Captivating on Instagram. You should follow her. Create Something Captivating. She's really cool. We worked together for a long time. She's helped me with social media over the years. And man, I emailed her last night. It was like almost 1 o'clock in the morning. No, it wasn't that late when I emailed her because I thought that would be crazy. I'm having all these problems with Instagram and linked business accounts, and I can't find anyone to help me. And thank goodness for her, because she had some tips. We haven't been able to solve the problem, but it's nice to be able to reach out to someone. And I don't know about you guys, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard to. We use social media for so much, and it's not like you can call someone and say, hey, can you just walk me through probably what's really a simple issue, and I can't find anyone to help me. And I wonder if it's the only business that's really like that. Do you guys know any businesses where that would be cool? Like where it's, it's hard to contact someone just to say, hey, can you just work me through this? Plumbers, I think. But usually you can get someone on the phone to tell you that they're not coming over. But for social media, I've been so frustrated this week. I've had such a tough week, and I really depend on it because it's the way that we can communicate together. Okay, that's just my little rant. But again, Louise is great, so definitely check her out. Create Something Captivating. And I got to run. The reason why I even look like halfway together is because I got to run. gotta run out the door with my kids right now. So have a great day, you guys. I'll continue to look into that jobs report. If I see anything more interesting, I'll make sure to flag it for you. But have a great day. I'll talk to you later.